Alongside Jackson Agello, I'm Jonathan Hoppy, and you may notice the third member of our team today, Alex Bono. You can get this bobblehead coming up on Monday. We'll have more on that later in the show. Right now, Jackson, Syracuse about to face off with Wake Forest, the #1 team in the nation. We know about the Orange's struggles in conference play. That does not get any easier today.
Of course not. You got the #1 team in the country coming in. And look, the ACC is the gauntlet. Coach McIntyre has mentioned that time and time again about this team when we talked to him during the week. And part of the reason for that is, look, 9 teams in the ACC are in the RPI top 25. No wonder it's a gauntlet, because every week you're playing against the top quality in the country.
Non-conference play on Monday. Syracuse fared well, a 3-1 win over Akron. And Jackson, Jonathan Hagman broke out in a very big way.
Finally broke out, you might say, Hoppy. You look at this game, he comes out and scores 3 goals in this game. Coming in, he had just 3 shots on goal all season. That's the type of player you need to step up. A season ago, he had 5 goals for this Syracuse team. You need some of that leadership, some finishing on chances, because you come into this game on the road against an Akron team that's traditionally been a very solid program. To get that win and have a type of player who's been someone to finish for you, that's huge for this team.
And this was a big win for Syracuse. Akron, not that great this year, but historically a pretty solid program, and they got the win on the road.
And you need to get those types of wins to prove to your team that you can get wins on the road and step up, because this is a team that has the #1 schedule in the country. Each week you're playing a very, very challenging opponent. Sometimes you're going to lose those close games. That's why you're 4-4. But in order to prove to your team that you're still elite, you need to go out and get those wins on the road. That's what Syracuse did.
And Syracuse picked up that win. They've had many players scoring goals this season. It hasn't been just one guy. Instead, it's a number of players who can come out on any given night. How do you think that works for them? Because most teams have one guy that they can go to. Syracuse, it's more of a group effort.
It's been more of a group effort this season than in the past, because you look, when Syracuse was in the Final Four a couple years ago, Chris Polk had double-digit goals for this team. So far this year, well, it's part of the reason why this team has struggled. They haven't had that double-digit goal scorer. They haven't had someone getting a ton of goals for this team. Part of that, Tajon Buchanan's missed some time. He was expected to be that guy to step up and get big-time goals for Syracuse. He hasn't quite been there, but they've also had some guys step up and a variety of players score, which is at least somewhat of a positive.
And you talk about Tajon Buchanan. He's been injured, started the season really fast, but did pick up 2 assists against Akron. Do you think he's close to getting back to the form he was in earlier in the season?
Well, Syracuse fans certainly hope so, right, Jonathan? I mean, this is a type of guy who can really change a game in such a variety of ways. He's so fast, he's so talented on the ball, and he's a great finisher. Now, after he missed some time when getting hurt against Notre Dame, you saw a little bit of that rust. He had a knee brace on in his first game back against Colgate. He had some chances. He missed those chances in those games, and he missed those in the games following that as well against Virginia and Virginia Tech. He had those chances, didn't quite get them, and didn't quite have the finishing ability you've seen from him in the past. Definitely a positive sign for this team to get some of those goals and get some of the help to create goals, I should say, against Akron.
And we'll see if Buchanan can come out tonight against the best team in the nation. Coming up on the other side, we get the chance to talk with Noah Eagle and Richard Shaw. They're on the call for tonight's action. Stay tuned. You're watching the ACC on ESPN pregame show. Come back with us. Inching closer and closer to kickoff between Syracuse and #1 Wake Forest. The Demon Deacons haven't lost a game since last December. Welcome back inside the Newhouse studio at Syracuse University. Alongside Jackson Agello, I'm Jonathan Hoppy. We're now joined by Noah Eagle and Richard Shaw out at the game. Guys, Jonathan Hagman broke out in a big way. What worked so well for him against Akron?
Well, Jonathan Hagman, with the 3 goals last time out against Akron, really played well. And Coach Mack said he was just getting to his spots and working hard to get there.
Yeah, and when you can do that, and you obviously have got the impact he can have in a game like this tonight, they're going to be certainly leaning for him to, make a big difference.
Well, the guy who teed up Hagman, guys, was Tajon Buchanan. What do you expect to see from him tonight? How close is he 100%?
Well, we saw a few weeks ago, he got dinged up right here at SU Soccer Stadium against Notre Dame, but Wake Forest head coach Bobby Muse says he's one of the best players in the country, and it really hasn't looked like he's slowed down at all.
Yeah, and against Notre Dame, before he got the knock, he was obviously causing so much trouble. His pace, his speed, his ability to go at players, and since now he's starting to really find his feet again after that and recovering, and he's going to be certainly in the big plans for what they're trying to do on the offense tonight against Wake Forest.
Guys, transitioning now to Wake Forest, Syracuse's opponent tonight, the #1 team in the country. They are so impressive on offense, over 3 goals per game. What works so well for them on the offensive side of the ball?
Well, leading the country in scoring, as you mentioned, Jonathan, and for good measure because they have talent up and down their roster, send guys to the pros year in, year out, and they have youth over in the front of the line right now.
Yeah, and the consistency, not only from that front line, but the midfielders in behind and even defenders getting forward. When they attack in numbers, they do it very effectively. They get bodies in the box, and as we've seen, they'll score the goals and finish games off.
Now, guys, you mentioned the talent for this Wake Forest team. Syracuse has actually counterbalanced that. Wake Forest hasn't beaten Syracuse these past 2 seasons. What is it about Syracuse's style of play that makes it hard for Wake Forest to beat Syracuse?
Well, that these two teams are formed very similarly. A lot of experience on the back line with not as much over in the front in that forward position especially. And you look, a lot of that leadership comes from the back, the center mid, as well as those defenders. And I think that's a big result and a big reason why they've drawn the last 2 years.
Yeah, and Coach McIntyre certainly has this SU side very organised. And against an offensive threat like Wake Forest, he'll have them very compact. They'll be working hard, pressuring the ball, giving them no time to make easy decisions. And I think that's obviously the difference in, when you can do that and obviously get your players up for games like this.
Noah, Richard, thanks so much for the time. We're looking forward to your call coming up at 7 o'clock. Right now, we've got more on the ACC on ESPN pregame show. Coming up, we'll talk about the Wake Forest offense we just mentioned. Why is it so good? That and so much more on the other side. You're watching ACC Soccer on ESPN. The last time these teams met at SU Soccer Stadium, this happened. A close game. Kamal Miller scored the equalizing goal late in the first half. That game ended in a tie, but propelled the Orange to a first-round win over Pitt in the ACC tournament. That's the last time they've won an ACC game. Welcome back to the ACC on ESPN pregame show. Jonathan Hoppy and Jackson Agello with you. Now, a lot has changed for Syracuse since they played Wake Forest 2 years ago, but in terms of the Demon Deacons, they're still as good on offense as they were then.
Somehow, Hoppy. It's really hard to wonder, or it's impossible really to tell what it is that keeps them coming back season after season with the best offense in the country. Losing 7 players to professional soccer, still having the #1 offense in the country, that's just building a brand.
And these numbers are astonishing, really, when you look at them. There's something that you see about this team, how good they are on offense. Why do you think that is? Because this is something that they've done year after year. They've got young guys, experienced guys, and they're all doing it at a high level.
Well, it's part of your style. When you come in and you're content to knock the ball around, as this team has been able to do, and you recruit to have the talent to do so, you can execute. They've done a great job of moving the ball around. You see, first in the country in assists. That shows you they know how to move the ball. They know where to get the ball to the right spots. And then part of it just comes down to when the moment comes, this team doesn't miss it. Part of the problem for Syracuse at certain times, Coach McIntyre's talked about it ad nauseum, converting chances. Wake Forest converts chances.
Syracuse hasn't won an ACC game in nearly 2 years, and it's not going to be easy today to pick one up against the #1 team in the nation. They'll try to coming up at 7 o'clock. But what do you think it is that has made Syracuse really vulnerable in these ACC games against the top competition, against the bottom competition? In the past 2 years, they just really haven't been able to get it done.
Well, the problem is between that top competition and the bottom competition, there isn't a ton of difference. Top to bottom, we mentioned earlier, 9 teams in the RPI top 25 from the ACC. Every week, every game in the ACC, you're playing against a quality opponent. And when there is a quality opponent, the margins in those games are so small. So if you slip up in one game, one loss can turn into 2 very quickly.
And Jackson, if Syracuse wants to propel themselves into the ACC tournament and make a possible postseason run, you look at the schedule, time is running out. This is a game here today that Syracuse really is going to want to get to improve their resume. They do have a good RPI, but they just don't have wins in the conference schedule, and they'll try to change that today.
To receive that attention and to prove, as Coach McIntyre wants to with his team, that it is a quality team, you need to go out and win. You need to go out and beat a Wake Forest team when you are 9th in the country with RPI, but you do have 4 losses. You need to go out and show the country you can beat the top flight team in the country. That's #1 Wake Forest.
Syracuse will try to play with the Demon Deacons today, but they have in the past 2 years back-to-back ties. Today they'll try to make it a win against Wake Forest.
And Syracuse, in order to do that, they're going to need to do a couple of things in this game, one of which for Syracuse is to convert this team's chances. You have to be able to do that. Coach McIntyre's talked about that time and time again. Syracuse's last 3 losses, well, the team has actually outshot its opponent by over 15. In order to do so in this game, in order to get this win, Syracuse has to be able to convert their chances and get Wake out of its pace by slowing down that pace of play from Wake.
Wake Forest doesn't care that Syracuse hasn't won an ACC game in a while. They come into this one trying to make it 12 straight wins to start the season.
Wake's going to need to dictate tempo in this game, Hoppy. In order for Wake to be successful in this one, they need to dictate tempo because they need to impose their will on this Syracuse team. And on the other side, they also need to come out and be themselves. Score first, because when they score first, they're 58-0-2.
All right, Jackson, we're coming up on that time. Syracuse and #1 Wake Forest from SU Soccer Stadium. Noah Eagle and Richard Shaw have the call. We'll see you back at halftime.
The whistle blows. Do your job, okay? Trust yourself. Trust your teammates. Play brave, aggressive, relentless Syracuse soccer, and it will be enough tonight. Enjoy this. What a game. What a night. And good luck, boys.
On a crisp fall night in central New York, this is a presentation of ACC Soccer on ACC Network Extra. #1 Wake Forest visits Syracuse in a clash between ACC teams. And welcome to SU Soccer Stadium alongside living legend right here in central New York, Richard Shaw. I'm Noah Eagle, and it's a good contest between #1 Wake Forest, 11-0 on the season, in Syracuse. And Wake Forest comes in with offensive firepower, leading the nation in scoring. And a big reason why is their star sophomore, Omir Fernandez.
Yeah, Fernandez, phenomenal talent. Obviously very dangerous, gets the ball wide, gets the ball in the middle of the field and just runs at players. And as we see, he knows how to find the back of the net, always causing trouble. Defenders, especially the Syracuse backline, are going to have to be on their toes this evening, make no doubt about that.
Fernandez second on the team in points, 19 on the season, 8 goals, pacing the way for the sophomore. But Syracuse has some offensive firepower themselves. So far this year, 4-4-1 on the season, but they're led by their sensational sophomore, Tajon Buchanan, who is about as creative as it gets.
Yeah, Buchanan always creating opportunities, not only for himself, but his teammates. You know, and you talk about what they can do, SU, going forward, and you look at the record. Had they have taken the chances that they created, and you know, a large part of it was down to what he does when he gets in the wide areas, he gets the ball in the box, always looking to sniff around, get things on goal, and I think he can be a key player that's going to be a big threat for Wake Forest tonight.
SU head coach Ian McIntyre says to be the best, you have to beat the best, and Syracuse has a chance to do that tonight. Syracuse, #1 Wake Forest, coming up next on ACC Network Extra. Just about ready for play to start between #1 Wake Forest and Syracuse from SU Soccer Stadium. Wake Forest coming out in a 4-2-3-1, and someone to look out for on this roster is Brad Dunwell, the senior captain. Started 20-plus games in his first 3 seasons and really dictates the offense for this Demon Deacons team. As we look over to Syracuse, 3-4-3 coming out for Ian McIntyre. And on the other side, it is Hugo Delhamel. Just like Dunwell, Delhamel is the point guard, so to speak, for this offense. Everything runs through that center mid, and we are ready for soccer from SU Soccer Stadium. 45 minutes on the clock as Wake Forest puts that 11-0 record to the test against Syracuse. Wake will control the first possession of this game and move with some pace early. Both teams like to push the tempo a lot.
Yeah, as expected, the game was going to always start with great tenacity and pace. Both these teams have great offensive power, and for me it's a case of who can get hold of the ball, maintain that possession, build it up into the final third, and then look to obviously start using the magical players that they have on both teams to create some opportunities and get the ball in the back of the net.
Wake Forest, as I mentioned, coming into this game 11-0-0. Chol brings the ball up the right sideline, but it's broken up by Raposo.
Yeah, good defending from SU there. Wake Forest really trying to attack down that right-hand side with pace and speed.
And Coach Ian McIntyre has to be happy with Raposo. Both coaches before this game said they want to see more defense out of their front line, especially some of those younger guys who feel like, all right, I can do my part on the offensive end. I don't need to play defense.
Yeah, and he's just doing it collectively. You know, as you see Wake Forest here just holding the ground, kind of happy letting Syracuse keep it as they knock it around. But then when they start looking to get a bit closer there, the pressure comes, and that's a system that's been working very well for them.
Keep in mind, Wake Forest 11-0. There's Fernandez, the sophomore, had it knocked away. Wake Forest 11-0. Last year nearly went through the entire ACC schedule and won every game. The only game they didn't win was a draw against Syracuse in the final game in the conference play. As we look at head coach Bobby Muse, who has been fantastic in his 4th season as head coach at Wake, 66-8-7. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that.
Yeah, that record certainly speaks for itself. But what he's been able to do this season so far, and obviously just having a streak of wins every game, fantastic. And it's going to be an enormous challenge for Syracuse, but it's one that we've seen them be able to handle in the past. We know they have the talent, and if Coach McIntyre can just get them firing on all cylinders like we know he can, and they put the ball in the back of the net when they get the opportunities, it wouldn't surprise me if they upset the proceeds here in this game.
Each of these teams with very similar styles of play, and Coach Ian McIntyre might not have as good a record as Bobby Muse, but he has been tremendous since taking over at the Cuse.
Yeah, he's always getting his teams working very hard. His systems of play that he implements are fantastic. He knows how to get the best out of his players, as we've seen time and time again as each season rolls on. And then with this squad here, although there's been 1 or 2 upsets and things that haven't gone quite well for them, one thing that he does do is keeps his head and makes sure his players follow suit and keeps their confidence up. And every time they get on the ball, they're capable of scoring. And like I said before, it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of upset the schedule in terms of Wake Forest and what they've been able to do and produce that win tonight.
And something that I love when we talked to Coach Mack before this game and asked him about the message going in to a contest with the #1 team in the country, an undefeated team at that, he said, if I need to motivate these guys, then that means something's wrong. And you saw before the game, it was a lot of X's and O's. It's a lot of play hard and just hammering home on some of those classic messages. But these guys are ready to go, and they are a feisty group.
Yeah, and you can see Wake Forest pressing high there. As soon as they sniff half of the opportunity to win the ball in that attacking third, they're doing it in numbers, and they're doing it well.
Neither team really finding any sort of offense early on in this game. Nearly 5 minutes gone by from SU Soccer Stadium. Again, each team very experienced defensively and in net. Hendrik Hilpert for Syracuse, the senior, 6 foot 175 from Germany, having himself another great year in net, a 4-year starter for the Orange. On the other side, it's Andre Casas Mundet, who is fantastic. Look at the series history. Just the 7th all-time meeting, Wake leads 3-1-2, but those 2 ties have come in the last 2 meetings. Syracuse is getting closer and closer to a major upset.
Yeah, and you can see just back there, you look at Zugner, excellent confidence, always talking, always communicating, always finding the right defensive position. And he's already done some good things in these opening few minutes.
Bring it all the way back. Michael DeShields, number 5, controlling and over to Fernandez. Hot potato, Eddie Folds, back to the middle of the field. And all the way back to Rabin, one of their captains. Him and Dunwell are the 2 leaders, and Bobby Muse, their head coach, said different types of leaders. Brad Dunwell, the midfielder, leads by example, the way that he trains, the way that he goes about his business and practices every day, the way that he prepares for games. Rabin is more of that vocal leader all the way in the back, barking signals throughout the game. Here's Fernandez, fancy dribbling, but couldn't finish.
Yeah, great tackle back there from SU when they needed it. And as you can see, that threat was, almost creating a goal-scoring opportunity. But, back to the leadership of this Wake Forest side, you don't get that record that you get this year without that, in my opinion. It'll skill, ability, technique, tactics, all that stuff will get you so far. But if you don't have the leadership, you don't have the right characters, the right chemistry, you know, you're going to find it hard pressed to produce a record that they've shown so far. But I'm liking what I see from both teams at the moment. As we said, it's tenacious, it's quick. Players are steaming into tackles, and that's one there that was just a little late. But fortunately, I think Buchanan's okay and just shakes it off.
It's been a long time since Wake Forest has lost an ACC game. Started this year with 4 wins in conference. It's been 23 games since they last lost. Here's that Syracuse attack. And a tough entering pass off the foot of Sondre Norheim was swallowed up by Andre Casas-Moondet.
Yeah, as you see, they get the ball wide. This is a great ball. And the option just to put it in first time, fizz it in, was there. It was an excellent ball, unfortunately, for SU. No one was making that run towards the near post, just getting across the keeper. But promising signs for Syracuse, and they just got to keep bombing on down the wings, try and get the ball in the box like we know they can.
Coach Ian McIntyre says that man, Kamal Miller, will be vital in this matchup. The experience, the veteran leadership as the captain of this team, and Kamal Miller is a difference maker.
Yeah, he really has been exceptional. Each season we've seen him play here. And you know, it's not just that strength and power that he has to, you know, stop the offense from the opposing teams, but it's just that threat when he goes forward. He's always looking to find feet and keep the ball moving. And on the set pieces, he's obviously a danger.
Pass entered by Jamon Johnson, who got the start again, and that may have gone off of Moondet. And it did, a corner opportunity for Syracuse. Kamal Miller, just back in 2016, delivering a strike. That was the equalizer in that contest. Just right place, right time, and knew where to put it to get even against Wake Forest.
Yeah, as we were talking about, he's a threat going forward.
Delhamel entered it, Moondet got rid of it, and then airmailed. It was a good opportunity, but Hagman couldn't control it.
Yeah, you could see what they're trying to do, just bend it in towards goal. But the goalkeeper was equal to it and just made the safe choice.
After that corner kick, Syracuse out-kicking their opponents 48-27 from the corner. But how about Wake Forest? 64-28. Those opportunities come quite often, and most times the Demon Deacons find a way to find the net.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's not one of them situations where it's just one player who's, you know, been prolific. You know, he's 2, 3, 4 players who are contributing in the scoring department, and obviously that really helps you win games and put the record together that they've displayed this season so far.
Out of play, and Rabin goes to retrieve it. Over, and Gadula, the senior, will throw it in. Approaching 10 minutes gone by in the first half. No real chances yet for either team. Here's Delhamel with some pace. Sidestepping Gadula, the defender. And Delhamel, no, Gadula, the last one to touch it. So Syracuse with a throw in their attacking third.
Yeah, good spell of pressure from Syracuse here for the last 2 or 3 minutes. This is certainly where they want to be playing the majority of this game. But, you know, can they carve out that first opportunity?
Here's a pass inside the box. Hagman couldn't get his head on it, and an acrobatic attempt by Farron. Johnson tracks it down for Syracuse and then knocks it out of play.
Yeah, just trying the acrobatic overhead kick there. It was certainly a decent height coming down nicely. It would have obviously been needing to be something special, but we've seen it happen before and it'll happen again. And if you don't try it, you don't give it a go, then you certainly won't have any chance of scoring from that type of range.
Well, it's already difficult enough because Andre Casas-Moondet in net, a junior this year. It's his second year starting, and last year, in his first year as the starting goalkeeper at Wake Forest, he broke a 10-year program record for goals against average, just .49 goals against him per game. Brian Edwards held that record with .5 for 10 years. Here's Ryan Raposo with some speed, and there is Moondet. That's why he's so good. Awareness to go out and get that ball.
Yeah, Moondet read the situation well. To be fair, the defender also did well. When that ball came into Raposo, his touch was actually pretty decent. You know, you could be hypercritical and say, what more could he do here? As we see this ball is driven, it's a great ball, a diagonal ball. His touch actually isn't that bad. It's where he wants to play it in front of him, keep the pace going, but the defender was equal to it, and so was the goalkeeper here.
Moondet already with a few shutouts this year, now 21 in his career. Last year, Wake Forest had a streak of over 300 minutes without allowing a goal.
Yeah, Del Hummel just trying to drive forward. He always surprises me because when I watch him, he works hard to win the ball. He's always in good areas. You know, he's got that knack of just nicking the ball from the opposition and sniffing out the danger. But when he gets it, he also bombs forward, and that's very good to see.
Fernandez centering pass. Lapa inside. Here's a legitimate chance for Wake Forest. And Holcomb can't find the back of the net. Hendrik Hilpert got in his face.
Yeah, I think this is a phenomenal tackle by Miller here. Last ditch, stretching, excellent play from him. Great defending, that's what you want. Putting his body on the line, timed it to perfection. You got to obviously get it right when you're in the box. And that was a clear indication of how good he is back there defensively.
Corner opportunity for Wake Forest. Here's the entering pass, and it finds an orange jersey. So each team with a corner opportunity, and neither team coming away with a successful goal. Going back to Moondet, head coach Bobby Muse says he loves Andre and what he brings to the team. There are some goals he lets in that, of course, are preventable, but for the most part, what he brings in terms of leadership and the way he manages the team and the game is why his head coach holds him in such a high regard.
When you got obviously the backing from the head coach and the confidence that he instills in you, it helps your game. But you also have to earn that, and especially being a goalkeeper where we know you're going to get scrutinized for making mistakes, especially when outfield players will make mistakes. They'll kind of go under the radar sometimes. Back there, as we all know, straight under the spotlight, but he's been fantastic for this team, and we're already in these opening few minutes, he's done some good things.
One thing to watch out for from Moondet, he has a great knack for starting an attack. But right now, it's Rabin, and that should be offsides.
Yeah, Wake Forest again trying to attack down that right side, and Chull just timed his run incorrectly. But credit to the back line as well, they're organised. SU all together, communicating, stepping up as a team, as a unit. Good play from them.
Looking at the attacking pieces of Wake Forest in this game, Machope Chol is a sophomore, Kyle Holcomb is a freshman, Omir Fernandez is a sophomore, Bruno Lapa is a junior. Mostly younger players, mostly underclassmen for Wake Forest, but man, can they score in a hurry. Bruno Lapa is the ACC leader in points as Chol plays it ahead to Logan Gadula. Guarded by Raposo, who knocks it away, but Chol is there to retrieve it. 15 minutes gone by in this first half. And a great play by Jonathan Hagman, who was the hero a few days ago against Akron. Made the play against Brad Dunwell, and Syracuse will get possession as a result. Hagman had a hat trick in that game against Akron, and Coach Ian McIntyre says he will have scored 3 prettier goals in his career, but probably not 3 more important goals.
Yeah, you just got to stick it in the back of the net. Don't worry about how you score it, especially when you're looking to grind out some results and get momentum going. And I know Coach McIntyre's certainly been happy with what Hagman's brought to the table for his side over the seasons he's been here, and they'll be looking at him for that offensive threat. Del Hamel will be also looking to get forward, and then again, like we talked about before the game can they get that ball into Buchanan's feet and encourage him to take defenders on? And that's when we see he's at his most threatening.
Buchanan, we haven't said his name very much so far in this contest. Mundet being chased down by 2 SU defenders. Great job by the Orange defense as the ball is played right back into their attacking third. May have gone out, and it did. So another corner opportunity for Syracuse.
Yeah, you can hear Coach McIntyre on this side encouraging his players to go and press.
And the Shields just couldn't quite save it from going out, so Delhamel will take the corner with a great opportunity to go up 1-0. It would be massive if Syracuse could score first here. Wake is 58-0-2 under Muse when they score first. Here's Delhamel with the entering pass, and it's knocked away. And then knocked right out of bounds. Not what you wanted if you're an Ian McIntyre.
Yeah, Delhamel knows how to deliver a ball. It's a good corner into a very dangerous area. Just a little too high for the first attacker there. But that's the kind of ball you want whipped into the box from the corners. A lot of pace on it. If you can connect to the powers there, just redirect that power. And if you hit the target, often finds the back of the net.
Here's Raposo showing off the speed. Raposo attacking the ball. But Wake comes away with possession, and Dunwell will start the attack. As we mentioned, everything offensively runs through Brad Dunwell, the captain. It doesn't show up on the stat sheet necessarily, but Dunwell and Delhamel are the 2 guys on either side that get everything going and keep everything organized. Oh, there's a pretty play by Tajon Buchanan. It goes off the post. Raposo the follow, and Mundet is there.
Well, I tell you what, we were almost in for arguably one of the best, if not the best goal of the season there. He starts with the nutmeg, then he does it again, which is unbelievable, and you can see he's got the composure just to try and put it in that near post. But unfortunately for him, it hits the post. Fantastic piece of skill. Unlucky.
Well, the knee looks fine, and Coach Bobby Muse breathes a sigh of relief. And he has the utmost respect for Tajon Buchanan. He says, I have Tajon Buchanan as one of the best players in the country. They could have seniors in high school behind him, and every time he gets the ball, something great can happen. He was one of the greatest players that they faced in the last 2 years.
Yeah, you know, take nothing away from it. You know, because the ball didn't end up in the back of the net. I mean, unbelievable skill, like a double nutmeg. And then just to hit, it was inside of the post as well, and you can see, you know, from the trajectory of the ball going across the goal.
All right, now we welcome in Coach Ian McIntyre. And Coach, it's been a neck-and-neck game so far. A great chance from Tajon Buchanan, just couldn't find the back of the net. How have you seen your boys respond so far?
I think it's been an excellent start. Look, we're being brave, we're going forward, we're putting the press on, and in hopefully the right areas. Look, we're playing against a wonderful team, and we understand if we turn off for one moment, we got the chance of being punished, but so far it's been an excellent start.
Coach, obviously good speed, you know, the intent is there, but what about that individual ability right then from Buchanan? I think it was a double nutmeg, and then he obviously tries to guide that ball into the near post.
Look, Tajon has that, doesn't he? As we're trying to keep him a little bit higher up the field today and down the middle and kind of feed balls into him. It's look, he's a handful, Rich. If we can get him, if we can expose him and kind of isolate him in certain areas, and let him do his thing. And look, sometimes it's going to come off and sometimes it's not. But unfortunately, that bounced out and didn't bounce in. But look, it's been a terrific start to this college soccer match, and probably look, it's a fun night, a nice crowd, and let's see if we can nick a goal here.
And Coach, this is an 11-0 team, a team that is 58-0-2 under Bobby Muse when they score first. How important is it for you to strike first in this game?
Look, games change matches, don't they? And they've had a chance, we've had a good chance. Certainly, you would write it up that you score first, but it looks like there could be some goals in this game.
All right, Coach, thanks so much. Best of luck.
Thanks, guys.
Tajon Buchanan, during that conversation, took a bit of a hit, got right up, which is a good sign for Syracuse soccer fans and for head coach Ian McIntyre. And going back to that chance for him, a spectacular play, and I think that's why he's so highly regarded throughout the entire country.
Yeah, I think if that goes in the back of the net, would have not only seen that all over the news, the sports world, but also on the internet. It would have been watched time and time again. But it just shows again what he's capable of. And you know, just to emphasize what Coach McIntyre said there, it was the key is getting him in those positions where he is isolated, where he can find a 1v1 situation, and they'll continue to look to create that for him.
Approaching 23 minutes to play in this first half. Neither team with a goal, as you see. Bruno Lapa just took one to the face, and that's not going to feel good.
Yeah, he's going to have to shake it off. He's obviously a big part of this team, and as you can see, just on the side of the back of the head.
The leading scorer in the ACC. So far this year, 9 goals, 8 assists on 30 shots. He started all 11 games for Wake Forest. He had 2 goals versus Davidson and 2 assists in last game. Those are his career highs. He is an integral part of this offense. And Coach McIntyre said with him, Omir Fernandez, and Brad Dunwell, if those 3 are dictating the game the way that they want to, Syracuse is going to have their hands full throughout the entire contest.
Yeah, if you're not keeping them quiet, you can certainly be in for a long night. But up to now, for me, Syracuse have just edged this. They've had, you know, the majority of the possession, especially in the more dangerous areas. They've just got to find that ingredient just to get the ball in the back of the net. We've seen them come very close there. But I think if they keep pushing forward, getting the ball in behind Wake Forest, you know, and then picking up corners and throw-ins and getting it in the box, it won't surprise me if they get the first goal.
Here is Buchanan. Quick footwork. Knocked out of play, and a Syracuse throw. Both teams generally like to push the pace. Bobby Muse came into this game for Wake Forest wanting to control more of that tempo, slow it down, make sure that they have more possession, especially early in the game. Raposo spinning around, gets to Buchanan. Syracuse on the attack, and pass just ahead of Delhamel, but he recovers. Puts one near net, just high and to the right.
Yeah, Delhamel uses a hard-working mentality to pick that ball up. The pass was just slightly overhit, but he didn't give up, and then it actually sat very nicely for him, about 25 yards out. Unfortunately for him, he just got under it, but a decent effort.
Aristotle Zaris into the game for Kyle Holcomb, freshman for freshman. Zaris on the season, 3 goals, 2 assists in his first year for the Demon Deacons. Didn't play in the last game, as Wake Forest was resting a few of their players, including Justin McMaster, Aristotle Zaris, and others against UNC Greensboro, a 2-0 win at home.
Yeah, and when you're resting players, obviously that can sometimes upset your flow, your chemistry a little bit. And I think, you know, Coach Moose was very honest when he said that they got the win, but it wasn't their best performance. That it was a little bit sloppy at times, and obviously that can happen when, like we said, you're mixing things up a little bit. But you know, we're bringing Zaris in here. They'll be looking for him to get straight at the races and get at Syracuse.
Zaris from Sarasota, Florida, 5'10", 160 pounds. His 2 cousins, Bay and Brad Kurtz, play at Virginia. Let's see if either team can find that offensive spark. Ryan Raposo is one of those guys that can provide it. Here he is. Leaves it for Delhamel, who goes chasing after it. Centering pass, knocked away, back to Raposo. And knocked away now by Gadula of Wake Forest. Here's Delhamel, generally the calming factor, but gave it away. Chul putting the moves on Miller. and just kicked it ahead. Hendrik Hilpert will be there to gather it.
Yeah, Hilbert just calming things down. Let's just steady things for a second and build from the back is what he's asking his players to do. But you know, you see the quality Wake Forest have got when they do get on the ball, just knocking it around. They've got the skill as well. You can see they're just kind of waiting to pounce. They've not really had many clear opportunities other than the time when Miller came in with the excellent tackle.
Syracuse and Wake Forest scoreless. Our next Syracuse men's soccer broadcast on ACC Network Extra is this Monday, October 8th, as the Ohio State Buckeyes travel at SU Soccer Stadium to face the Orange. Game time, 7 p.m. You can follow the Orange all season long on the ACC Network Extra. Fernandez controls for Wake Forest. Middle of the field, passes it back to Gadula. Little hot potato. No one wants to take responsibility, and Rabin now gets it back up. Keep in mind, this Wake Forest team, who's 11-0 on the season, had 7 players go to the MLS this past year. 7 pros as Miller gets whistled for the foul.
Yeah, and that just demonstrates the quality that they have. And Zaracia, I think it was bombing forward, just gets his shirt pulled a little bit. I think by Miller, I think it was. But,
Miller and Johnson both there.
Yes, and to your point, when you look at the talent they've produced, first of all, it's obviously recruiting top players, but when you get top players coming in 18, 19 years of age, you've got to develop them, you've got to continue that process, and that's what Coach Muse has been able to do. He not only gets the top quality, but he helps them move on.
Pass inside, knocked away, and it'll go out of play. And Hendrik Hilpert will start an attack for Syracuse. Let's look at the opportunity for Wake Forest.
Yeah, decent ball in. I think DeShields just tries to guide it towards goal, gets under it. Sometimes that type of ball into the box from those free kicks, you're better off getting a bit more pace on it, directing it maybe a little bit more to goal, so it just needs a touch. That one was always going to be a very difficult header for him. It didn't have a lot of pace, and it was pretty far out as well, so he made you can see what he's trying to do, but it was one way, he just got under it, and it was wayward.
Keep in mind, Wake Forest won 19 games last year before losing those 7 players to the MLS. Now they're 11-0 to start this season. I think Bobby Muse put it in the right way, saying if you told me that we were 7-4 right now, I'd be thrilled. But 11-0, we're just riding it while we can and playing our best soccer, and so far that product has been fantastic.
Yeah, and credit for him to say a thing like that. It's obviously why he's implementing such a great mentality with his players, a hard-working culture here at Wake Forest, where players they know that they have to produce, they know that they've got to put the extra effort in to get a starting spot and get on the field. And as you say, that talent that comes out of it at the other end, a credit to him and his staff.
Hilly Goldhar into the game for Syracuse, replacing Ryan Raposo. Again, freshman coming on for freshman. Goldhar playing in his 9th game, didn't play last game, with 1 goal and 2 assists in his first season in Orange. Fernandez had it knocked away, and Folds retrieves it, brings it back to Michael DeShields, and this experienced defensive line will control the pace for Wake Forest.
Yeah, and you're watching good soccer when there's only really been a couple of chances, the effort from Buchanan that hits the post, and then the time where Wake Forest got in behind and Miller came in with a great tackle. Other than that, there's not been any real goal-scoring opportunities, but the time has gone fast because the soccer that we're seeing here is of a high standard, and at this level, certainly Wake Forest, best team in the country right now.
Delhamel was called for the foul, but it looks like Desart may have been going down before he got pushed. Nonetheless, Wake Forest keeps possession. Under 15 minutes to play in the first half. As you mentioned, Richard, not a ton of chances. Andre Casas Mundet. 21 shutouts in his career. He is definitely among the better goalkeepers in the country, especially goals against average, coming into this game at .8.
Yeah, Syracuse just got to keep doing what Coach McIntyre wants them doing, which is working hard defensively, giving them no time. That was unfortunate there for Gadula, but can't get away. Syracuse can't get away from what we've seen in the first half an hour of this game, where they're working hard, giving Wake Forest no time, especially when they get towards the halfway line and enter the attacking half. And as of now, this game certainly could go either way, and the question of who works the hardest could be the reason why our winner is produced here tonight.
Syracuse has won 59 straight games when scoring 3 or more goals, but so far tonight, that is looking unlikely, the way these two teams are playing on a brisk night in Syracuse. The temperatures have dipped down now. Most fans here are wearing coats. Who will strike first between #1 Wake Forest and Syracuse? That is Gadula, the senior. Kept it from going out of bounds, but gave it away.
Yeah, excellent pressure again from Syracuse. Just closing them down all the time.
And spectators here bundling up. Could be soon that they see their breath. Just look behind the net. I like the kid with the striped pants. It's a good look. I might have to get some myself.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's got his colours on, representing. But as you say, that that temperatures drop, but it's ideal for the players. These are perfect conditions. You couldn't ask for any better weather than this.
Substitutions on both sides. Alistair Johnson as well as Severin Sorley on for their respective teams. Buchanan goes to the bench for Syracuse. Here's Goldhar. Inside Hagman. He was the hero last time out against Akron. Not a ton of contact, but it was sold well by Michael DeShields of Wake. And Hagman can't believe it.
Yeah, Hagman just he let DeShields get in front. No contact really. Maybe a tangle of legs. But for me, DeShields, he's just being smart there. He's making the right decision. He knows he's getting that call 99% of the time.
Wake Forest only commits about 11 fouls per game. Nice ball up towards the front of the net, but Severin Sorley just wasn't quick enough to it.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about Wake Forest in terms of their offensive threat and what they bring to the table in terms of skill and technical ability. But look defensively there, DeShields just switched off for a second, just potentially out of position by half a yard, but he just makes up for it because of the athleticism he has, and you could see the stride, 3 or 4 strides he's back on, and comfortably takes care of the danger.
We've talked about this a few times already, but Bobby Muse, when scoring first, is nearly unbeatable. 58-0-2, but when the opponent gets on the board first, 8-7-1. So Wake does have the ability to come back, but SU's chances of winning this game go way up by striking first. Right now, neither team looking like they could get on the board in the first half, unless Omir Fernandez can get to that ball, which he can't. Great defense by Sandre Norheim.
Yeah, brilliant play from Norheim there, getting his body in, using his strength. And as you see, he's just trying to get in behind him with a bit of skill. And Fernandez, this is why he's dangerous. But Norheim getting his body in and being strong and equal to the task.
Norheim stands at 6'4", Fernandez 5'9". So using that length to his advantage. Under 10 minutes to play now in the first half between 11-0 Wake Forest, 4-4-1 Syracuse. Hendrik Hilpert has had a pretty easy day thus far. Has not faced a ton of shots.
Yeah, I can't recall him being tested at any point, to be honest. the one potential danger. Miller sniffed it out and made a great tackle. Other than that, not really much for Hilbert to do in the way of shots at all. 1 or 2 crosses maybe, but he'll be happy if it stays this way, that's for sure.
Kamal Miller risking his body, but Wake keeps possession. The Demon Deacons are going to look to find their, so to speak, point guard, Brad Dunwell. Attacking ball down the sideline. Lapa's there, but so is Johnson. And Johnson wins the battle. Goldhar shoved down by Eddie Folds, and Syracuse given the advantage.
Yeah, Goldhar doing well, getting his body in, just trying to hold the ball up for his team. And Folds made a meal of it and was all over his back. Easy call for the referee. And now a chance for Zugner maybe to pump it forward into a dangerous area.
Put it towards that box, and now Goldhar will control it. Could this be the opportunity that Syracuse has craved all game? Norheim entering pass all the way to the other side. Farron is there and can't keep it from going out of bounds, but it looks like it was knocked off of Gadula. And it was. Join the fun this weekend at the Press House Pub in historic Herald Square and root on your Syracuse Orange as they face the Pitt Panthers in an exciting ACC football action. A free breakfast buffet starts at 10 a.m. Don't miss out on all the action this Saturday as the Press Room Pub, located at 220 Herald Place in downtown Syracuse. That's the Press Room Pub with free breakfast. Can't pass it up. Justin McMaster in. It's his first action in a few games, as is Isaiah Parente for Wake Forest. And Julio Fulcar will come in for the Orange. Justin McMaster, who started the first 8 games and then was a little dinged up for Wake Forest. 4 goals, 3 assists in those first 8 games. He is dangerous at the forward position, the sophomore from Jamaica.
Yeah, certainly bags of skill, technical ability, but he's composed on the ball and he uses those attributes to great strengths for his side.
Fernandez given a break. Rula comes in for him for Wake Forest. A lot of changes on both sides of the field. But the captain remains in. That's Sam Rabin. Barking out a lot of signals. Rabin and Dunwell, the 2 captains, stay in for Wake Forest. Miller and Hilbert stay in for Syracuse. Hard to replace leadership like that.
Yeah, Wake Forest just not been able to get enough time on the ball. Syracuse have really worked hard the entire first half. They'll have to keep that up in the second half if they're going to keep Wake Forest quiet, because you can see that Wake Forest are dying to just get half a yard and cause some trouble. But credit to Coach McIntyre and his team. This first half performance from them defensively and offensively has been very good.
Julio Fulcar, who I mentioned in the game for Syracuse, number 18 in orange and blue, a freshman, 5'9", out of Watertown, Massachusetts. He was the point guard for the Watertown 2018 Division III state champion in high school. Scored 25 points in that title game. So a heck of a basketball player aside from his play on the field.
Yeah, further evidence again that playing multiple sports as a youngster can be very beneficial to your athletic development.
Don't forget to stay with us at halftime as we head back to the studio. Jonathan Hoppy and Jackson Agello will have halftime highlights and revisit the team's keys to victory tonight. It's coming up at half. Norheim, fancy footwork, and play it back to Zugner, the grad. Len Zugner stands at 6'4". Sandre Norheim, 6'4". Kamal Miller, 6 foot. Those are your 3 defenders for Syracuse. Play with length on the outside, and then that center back Miller at 6 foot is about as savvy a player as you'll find.
Yeah, Miller and Zugner knocked this ball back and forth maybe 7 or 8 times. Wake Forest just looking to cut out that ball that penetrates the midfield line.
Zugner sails it out of bounds. Gildhar was in the area, but couldn't keep it in play. So Folds will throw it in for Wake Forest. Now under 4 minutes to play in the first half. Time's running out for either team to get on the board before the intermission. Goldhar gets past 1 defender. Now Sorley. And Syracuse keeps possession. Norheim a chance to jumpstart some offense.
Yeah, Syracuse again with numbers up, putting pressure on the Wake Forest back line.
That one last touched Norheim and the man bun. Here's Fulcar, the freshman, back to Norheim, the sophomore. Delhamel and that beautiful beard.
Come in handy, that beard, when the temperatures start dropping.
Keep the face warm.
Yeah, that's right.
I wish I could grow it like that. You've got Delhamel with the long beard and Norheim with the man bun. One of the better groomed teams in the ACC, if nothing else.
Yeah, they've certainly done well, the pair of them, in this first half. And, you know, going into halftime, if you had to pick someone who may be more disappointed about not scoring, it certainly would be Syracuse, especially with hitting the post. But it's been an entertaining first half. Both teams attacking with speed. I think Syracuse just having the better of that in these first 45 minutes. But Wake Forest, every time they get the ball, you can see the danger, you can see the threat, they've got the quality. Syracuse just keep pressing and giving them no time. And that's something that will have to continue to do. Make no doubt about that in the second half.
That was knocked out by Sam Rabin. 2 minutes to play in the first half. Syracuse in their attacking half of the field. Delhamel attacking with a purpose, and now Fulcar comes away with it. Sold the contact and got the whistle.
Yeah, this could be a card as well because it was pretty blatant. Yeah, there it is, the yellow card. Definitely an opportunity for Syracuse to penetrate. Delhamel chops it, and then that one there, that was just certainly a good decision, if you like, professional foul, as you could call it.
Alistair Johnson given the yellow card. He is a good setup man at the midfielder position for Wake Forest. 5 assists on the season. He's played in all 11 games. A spark plug off the bench is the junior. But Delhamel now with a free kick. Plays it into the box. Norheim comes all the way in from the sideline, but just wasn't on target with the header.
Yeah, it was a good ball in, actually. It was one of them floated balls, just begging to be hammered towards goal. But Norheim just got it wrong that time.
Moondet will send it. Moondet kicks it to the moon. And now we'll go the other way. Some extracurricular activity, and another card has been given. This one, I believe, will go against Julio Fulcar, who came into the game, the freshman, with an immediate impact by getting a yellow card.
Yeah, the ball hanging up here. Second ball drops down. The call was on the first one, and then I think Fulcar kind of protested and tried to grab the ball. Referee having none of it. But they're the cards you really want to avoid. Save the cards for tackles and moments where you might need to take one for the team, but picking up silly ones, you certainly don't want to do that.
Syracuse gains possession on this shove by Eddie Folds. Just grabs a hold of Hilly Goldhart.
Yeah, Folds again with his arms up. Doesn't need to do that there. Syracuse in not the best position. Just stand up. Force the mistake. Put him under pressure.
Goldhart is a rock under pressure. Coming out of Toronto, just a freshman, represented Canada in the 2017 Maccabi Games in Israel. Final 20 seconds of the first half. Which team can take momentum going into this halftime break? Severin Sorley has it in the corner, and it knocks off of Wake Forest. That's how this first half will end, in a 0-0 tie. Well, the last 2 years, these two teams have played to a draw, and so far through 45 minutes, nothing has changed. A lot of physical play between these two teams. Wake Forest, #1 team in the country, 11-0. Syracuse, 4-1. Who will be able to come out on top after 45 more minutes of soccer? We'll find out after this. This is the ACC on ACC Network Extra.
Great crowd on hand today at the SU Soccer Stadium. Syracuse holding up nicely thus far against the #1 ranked Wake Forest Demon Deacons. The Orange looking for that first ACC win in 2 years. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside the Newhouse studio at the University of Syracuse as we get ready here on the ACC on ESPN Halftime Show. Earlier in the game, we talked about this guy right here, the Alex Bono bobblehead. Well, guess what? You can get one of these on Monday if you make it out to SU Soccer Stadium against Ohio State. Get there early. Gates open at 5:45. First 200 fans get a bobblehead, so make sure you're one of those. But right now, Jackson, we've got a great game as Syracuse is going toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the nation, and right now they're playing with them.
So far, so good for the Syracuse team. We saw right before the game, we saw Coach McIntyre's speech to his team. He told them to go out and be brave. We saw that from Syracuse in that first half of this game. Syracuse went out, they attacked the ball, they didn't sit back and let Wake Forest come to them. When you let Wake come to you, that's bad news. This is the #1 scoring offense in the country, #1 in assists as well. When you let them knock the ball around, that's when this team is at its most comfortable.
Wake Forest is so good on offense, the best team in the nation, over 3 goals a game on average, so that Syracuse pressure was going to be critical, up and down a little bit in the first half.
That's going to happen. When you want to press a lot, it's going to be in waves because you can't sustain 40 minutes, or if you want to go back 40 minutes of hell back to the Arkansas days, or if you want to go with Syracuse for soccer now, trying to go 90 minutes, you can't sustain it with 11 guys out there. That's too much running for them. Eventually, they're going to get tired. I'd get tired after a couple seconds. They have a little bit more endurance than I do, but eventually, you're going to get a little bit tired.
Now, we talk about Syracuse and the ability to score first. Well, Wake Forest is really good at it, but the Orange had a number of chances. Tajon Buchanan, coming back from that injury, he's been in and out of the lineup, had 2 assists against Akron, but here, he almost scored a beautiful goal to open this game.
You see right there, the nutmeg, and Buchanan, he has that brace on his leg, golden chance. Here he goes with the right foot, but that brace signifies him still coming back. You know, he hasn't finished, he hasn't scored since coming back from injury against Notre Dame. He had those 2 prior to that against Hobart in a big win for Syracuse. For the Orange to win this game, you can't let too many of those golden chances go by.
This is a guy that Syracuse is going to need if it wants to pull off the upset against the #1 team. A good first half so far, but we'll break it down even more on the other side as we'll give you the highlights, we'll give you the stats, we'll talk about what both these teams need to do to pull out a victory. You're watching the ACC on ESPN Halftime Report. Getting things ready for the second half of action after the first 45 minutes. Syracuse and #1 ranked Forest are tied at 0. Welcome back inside the Newhouse studio alongside Jackson Agello. I'm Jonathan Hoppy. A tie game, something we've seen in the past 2 seasons when these teams meet, but we've got a second half to go. To start this game, we were looking to see if Wake Forest could score because they're so good when they score first. Something crazy like 50-0-2 or something like that.
58-0.
58-0-2. Well, early on, Syracuse was the one that had the early chances.
Syracuse had the opportunities early this game. We talked about those chances. You can see them here now. A couple of early opportunities here. Kamal Miller saving an opportunity for the Orange. He actually scored in the past, but now he's saving one.
And this is the one right here where they try to center it, and then Tajon Buchanan, he goes double nutmeg. We showed you that earlier. What a goal that would have been. Richard Shaw said it would have been the best goal of the season.
That's top 10 stuff right there, Hop.
That's top 10 stuff. And then when we go on in this half, more chances for Syracuse. The play got to be really physical, and Notre Dame brought it back down the field, but neither team able to pull away.
Wake Forest and Syracuse just kind of, as you can see here in the middle, knocking it around a little bit. Syracuse did enough of a job disrupting the rhythm of Wake Forest, not letting them possess too long.
And that physicality there, you see the yellow card, that's something you can expect to see. Syracuse wants this game really badly. Wake Forest, meanwhile, does not want to lose this game. They're trying to start the season with 12 straight, but there you see the shots. Big advantage for Syracuse.
Big advantage so far for Syracuse. You need to convert those going forward, and you mentioned those fouls. You're going to see an aggressive play. We talked about Wake Forest and how they're undefeated, but you mentioned this team needs the game too. Currently, Louisville has the lead in points as far as at the top of the ACC standings. They're up by just 1 point because they tied. They played one more game so far. This is Wake Forest's chance to get back in front.
And let's face it, for Syracuse, they need to do everything right in this second half to come away with the win. They want the win so badly. Past 2 times against the Demon Deacons, they've tied. Today, they're trying to get over that hump.
And in order to do that, we talked about some things earlier on. So far, Syracuse has passed at least 1 out of 2. They passed 1 out of 2 of the things they needed to do in this game. So far, Syracuse has done a quality job of being brave and going out there and trying to disrupt the rhythm for Wake Forest. We mentioned how Coach McIntyre told us, you can't let this Wake Forest team just knock it around and possess it. If you do that, you will lose. Syracuse has done a nice job disrupting so far. Wake hasn't just gone around, knocked the ball around, and lulled this defense to sleep. But you need to convert your chances. If you get another opportunity like Tajon Buchanan had in this first half, in the second half, you must score that goal.
Now, Wake Forest, they're not going to go away. As we talk about, they're so successful on offense, defense, really everything is the #1 team in the country. What do you think they're talking about in the locker room right now to try to change in the second 45?
They're trying to play their game. We talked about it before the game, what their game is. They need to just keep on with that rhythm. They need to go out there and possess the ball, knock it around, do exactly what Syracuse is trying to stop this Demon Deacon squad from doing. They need to go out, move the ball like they do. #1 in the country in assists. Go out, knock it around, find the open man, get some possession. There hasn't been a true rhythm to this Wake team, which you've seen in watching some of their games in the past. They have a rhythm to their passing. They're a smooth team. That's why they're #1 in the country. They need to go out and do more of that, establish their will early in this game, get on the board, and then ride the statistical history to victory.
Halftime score is Syracuse 0, Wake Forest 0. A few weeks ago, Syracuse hosted Notre Dame on a Friday night, much like this one. They only scored 0 goals in the first half. Both teams only scored 0, right, Jackson? Then they come back and score 5 quickly. Do you think we'll see an explosion like that between these two teams today?
You're going to see goals in the second half.
Let's find out how many. The second half from the SU Soccer Stadium. That's coming up after the break. Noah Eagle and Richard Shaw have the call then.
I'm Ian Eagle. Why do I boost the Cuse? Well, I met my wife there. Both my kids attend school there. We are all in.
Well, Ian Eagle's all in on the Cuse. Apparently both his kids go there. I'd love to meet them. That'd be really cool. As of right now, Syracuse soccer, however, and I'm sure that Ian's all in on Syracuse soccer as well, tied with #1 Wake Forest after 1 half of play, 0-0. It has been a back and forth, chippy, very aggressive game from both teams. And as Jonathan Happy and Jackson Agello said at halftime, Notre Dame a few weeks ago, 0-0 at halftime, 5 goals in the second half. I think we can expect to see some here.
Yeah, you know, during that game, the Notre Dame game, you felt, we didn't think 5 goals were going to come, that's for sure. But based on what we've seen in this first half, even though there's not been any goals, you can see that both teams have played at a great pace, but defensively both teams have worked hard. Apart from the Buchanan chance that hit the post, there was nothing really clear-cut for either side, and that wasn't because offensively things weren't going well. It was just defensively. Everyone was working very hard. Both teams organized as a unit, staying very compact, and Syracuse, for me, did a better job closing the ball down with that tenacity, with that pace, and they've got to continue to do that, because if they do, I think they can keep Wake Forest. I mean, we looked at the stats at halftime. For a Wake Forest side that have done what they've done this season, to only have one shot, it's a credit to what Coach McIntyre has done with his team here. But you've got to keep that up. You can't just do it for half a game. It's got to be for 90 minutes, and if they can do that, who knows what can end up with this scoreline.
One thing to look out for in the second half from Wake Forest is their more experienced players, those seniors who have now had 3+ years, as Tajon Buchanan shows off the skill set again and now runs with some pace. Down the right sideline, Buchanan slows it down and plays for Hagman. And he just airmails one right out of play. You can hear the crowd let out a collective oh.
Yeah, disappointment really from Hagman, because Buchanan again, what a great touch. Left the Wake Forest player for dead, and he bombs on down that side, tucks in, and then he's got the composure just to lay it off. A nice pass, inviting Hagman to just go and absolutely smash it on goal. But kind of got caught between two minds, I think, and ended up lofting it high and wide, which was unfortunate for him and the team.
You're looking for these more experienced Wake players in this second half. The last 3+ years, they have enjoyed a bevy of success under Bobby Muse, and Coach Muse even said that they're used to having that target on their back, and they're ready for really anything at this point, especially in the ACC schedule.
Yeah, Syracuse certainly been at the races in the first half, and they've started well here, but you know that Wake Forest have that quality. Coach Muse has clearly been doing some fantastic things tactically, and you know, motivating his team to do really well. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if we saw an extra gear or two from Wake Forest in this second half, especially in the opening 5-10 minutes.
This is Desart, and knocked away by Zugner. Hagman battling with the captain Dunwell. Dunwell wins that battle. Nice ball to the far side, and Lapa. Lapa is dangerous, leading the ACC in scoring, but that wasn't what he was going for. Delhamel couldn't track it down for Syracuse. Here's Chol. Back to Lapa. The junior plays for Fernandez, his running mate. Lapa, he can score from pretty much anywhere outside the box.
Yeah, already this is better from Wake Forest. They seem to have more urgency, fizzing that ball around, playing with the tempo. One touch, two touch.
Chol gave it away momentarily, and Wake Forest regained control. Folds up to a teammate in Parente. Now Fernandez has it. Back to the center of the field, Desart. And Fernandez knocked from behind. Norheim can't believe it, but there was contact, and Fernandez hit the deck.
Yeah, Fernandez gets his body in front, and that pressure comes in from behind. Just a little nudge, enough to warrant the free kick in what is a very dangerous position on the field. And we've not really seen Syracuse tested yet from a set piece from this type of range. We saw the one ball that was floated into the box in the first half that never came to anything, but this is looking like it's going to be an in-swinger, probably whipped in towards goal.
Here's Lapa. Puts it into the box, and it's knocked away. Great job by Syracuse to keep their composure. Hilpert's there, but Gadula tracks it down for the Demon Deacons and lets it go out of play. So Lapa, who's coming off a 2-assist performance last time out against UNCG, couldn't find another one here.
Yeah, he tries to bend it on goal, and then the ball falls again for him, and he whips it in a bit deeper this time to the far post, but Miller gets a very important touch on it.
Lapa and Buchanan exchanging words and hands with one another. Kamal Miller, again, just a calming factor in the back line for Syracuse, that center back position, a captain this year in his senior campaign. Started 36 of SU's last 38 games coming into the season. Hagman. Nice ball to find Buchanan, and he couldn't control it. Tajon Buchanan, who had that wonderful chance in the first half that went off the inside of the post. Would have been a highlight to be remembered. That's offside. Joey Desart just got ahead of it. The junior from Jackson, New Jersey.
Yeah, that was the first time we saw Buchanan have a little technical error, but when you're doing what he's doing and the ball's going into him, and just fantastic to watch when he's on fire.
Already 5 minutes gone by in the second half. Still no goals from either team. Number 1 Wake Forest, 11-0-0 on the season. Syracuse 4-4-1, coming off that win against Akron. A 3-1 victory on the road. Keep in mind, that was 3 games in 7 days. You tie Colgate, lose to Virginia Tech in double overtime, and then just 3 days later have to play at Akron, a program that is historically very good, and come away with the win. And Ian McIntyre was very pleased with just the way that his team showed resiliency, showed the ability to bounce back, and another offside is called. Aristotle Zaris jumped the gun.
Yeah, and sometimes it's easy to look at records, but make no mistake, the Syracuse side have certainly got the potential to go very far this season. Who knows what they're capable of in terms of the long-term stretch. But one thing is clear, they're playing the best team in the country right now, and for me, they've not only done themselves well in the first 50 minutes of play, but they've actually shown what they're capable of.
So far, Syracuse has pretty much outplayed Wake Forest in this game. Doesn't show up on the scoreboard, but on the stat sheet through the first half, it was definitely in favor of the Orange. 4 shots against 1 for Wake Forest, 2 corners versus only 1 for the Demon Deacons. It was Syracuse controlling possession and controlling the game in the first half, just couldn't convert on those few chances they had. Moondet kicks it away. Johnson finds it over to Hagman. Hagman's first points of the season came against Akron with that hat trick. Just the 33rd player in program history, the first one since 2015, with current assistant Ben Polk did it, and now an injury down on the field.
Yeah,
that's going to be Omir Fernandez.
Yeah, the way he just twisted there. Did you see there's pressure in behind Noheim? He turns. Hopefully for him it's not too serious. Sometimes when you twist it can be dangerous, but he seems okay. He looks a bit disappointed, but I think he's going to be able to shake it off.
That's 19 points walking around on the field. Nothing to bat an eye at. Omir Fernandez, the sophomore from the Bronx, has been dangerous this year. All right, well, Wake Forest with an opportunity to start an attack now. Opportunity taken away. Good job by the Syracuse defense. Del Hamel couldn't get it to his intended target, Goldhar, and Desart takes it away.
Yeah, Desart, certainly a powerhouse in there. You look at his strength and his height.
Helper there for the easy save. That'll be counted as Wake Forest's second shot of the game.
Yeah, Coach Muser will certainly be disappointed with what he's seen from his team in terms of an offensive threat. They've not really had that ability to be clinical in the final third. They started a little brighter this second half from what we saw throughout spells when they were going forward in the first half, but again, it's something they're going to have to improve and kind of find the form that's given this 11-0 record.
Wake Forest lost 7 players to the MLS a year ago. So how do you reload if you're the Demon Deacons? Well, how about getting the second best recruiting class in the country? It's rated by Top Drawer Soccer and College Soccer News, the #2 incoming class. And so far they have been very impressive. Aristotle Zaris has made major contributions. Kyle Holcomb is a consistent starter. Isaiah Parente comes in and does his thing. So far, those freshmen have come in and made an immediate impact.
And you talked about, you know, the youth they have in this team. So it's pretty scary when you can be 11-0 and then start thinking about what they're capable of next season when they've got all these experiences under their belt.
Syracuse had Mo Adams go 10th overall last year in the MLS draft to the Chicago Fire. His teammate, John Baccaro, former Wake Forest Demon Deacon. Fernandez, Lapa now. Here's Bruno Lapa, put it in the right spot, but what a stop by Hendrik Hilpert.
Yeah, we'll see here, this was a lot of space for Lapa, and he's shifted it onto his right foot and he's really got behind it. But what a fantastic touch from Hilpert, just to guide it over. He's at full stretch, did exactly what he needed to do. And I'm sure Coach McIntyre will be relieved to see that one go over the bar.
Hilpert heard it from the fans, his third save tonight. Came into the contest with 31 on the season. Corner opportunity again for Wake Forest, and this will be going the other way.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. It seemed to be a mishit on the corner play. But, you know, just back to Hilpert again. You know, one thing that, for me, separates average goalkeepers to good goalkeepers is the ability to just be ready when that time comes. As we said before, Hilpert's not really had much to do, if anything, in this game. But that was certainly one of the best efforts that we've seen from Wake Forest, if not their best opportunity. I'm sure Coach Muse will be very happy to see that, because that was one thing that was missing in the first half. And to see that opportunity come and be hit so well, it's certainly optimistic for them now, as they seemingly have turned a corner and found a new gear, an extra gear.
So still scoreless now, about 15 minutes gone by here in the second half as we look at this last play. Dunwell just doing a good job of using his body against Delhamel. But Richard, as a coach, Tajon Buchanan has not really been involved a ton in the second half. How can Ian McIntyre get him more involved moving forward?
Well, I think it's just what he said in the first half when we spoke to him, trying to find him those isolated situations where he's on the wing, or he's in the final third in a 1v1 situation, then get it into his feet early so he can turn, kind of like in these situations here.
Here's a great opportunity for Goldhar, looking for Buchanan, and just passed it to the wrong player. Wrong color jersey, and the team in white takes it the other way before Johnson takes it right back. Syracuse with good numbers. Delhamel, Hagman. Goldhar just didn't go fully to the ball. And a good job by the Wake Forest defense.
Yeah, good play from Syracuse there going forward. And you see Raposo coming in now again.
Replacing Farron, who started the second half. Starting his 10th game of the season this year, Massimo Farron, junior from Mississauga, Ontario, transferred to SU this past year. Norheim throws it in, Delhamel. Syracuse could really use a goal and go up 1-0 on the #1 team in the country. All the way back to Miller at midfield. Raposo just entered the game, fresh legs. Johnson, and put it past Ryan Raposo, and in between him and Tajon Buchanan.
Yeah, just overhit now, and we're at that point in the evening where the ball will zip off the turf, played through there. You'd see it just skipping.
Gadula threw it in and then knocked it out. So he'll enter it and exit it. In quickly to Buchanan. Had it against 2 Wake Forest defenders, and the Demon Deacons came away with the ball, and then Buchanan, out of frustration, just shoved Gadula down.
Yeah, Buchanan just trying to get his body in. Nothing much in it, really. I mean, is it a foul? Arguably, yes. Done well. Going down, using his experience. He knows any sign of any type of foul, just by going to ground, he's going to get that call and be able to relieve the pressure for his team.
Impressive job by Ryan Raposo to at least try to keep that ball in. Couldn't do it. Gadula will start it out for Wake Forest. Now under 30 minutes to play in the second half. Keep in mind, Syracuse has had a couple overtime games lately, just tied with Colgate 1-1 on September 24th, then on September 28th, double overtime and before losing that game on the road to Virginia Tech. And another yellow card, now this time given to Sandre Norheim.
Yeah, I think we're going to just have to see this one again. Norheim didn't seem to do too much. Body to body, yeah. Yeah, nothing in it, to be honest. I mean, you can use your arms, certainly. He's not pulling him, he's just trying to get his body in. Maybe the referee kind of saw it from behind a little bit anytime the hand goes near the back. But for me, not much in it whatsoever.
And you can hear Ian McIntyre not happy with the call by the referee.
Yeah, upset. The card comes out as well. When it's not even a foul from his perspective, that can be very frustrating.
Lapa enters it, and Kamal Miller, he's been there doing that for 4 years. Knocks it out of play, forces the corner.
Yeah, I think we'll see Miller go on after his college experiences and certainly do something in the professional ranks. He's been solid. He's exactly what you want, composed. He's got the skill, he's got the ability to win things in the air, and he's got the pace and the strength to sniff out danger, as we saw in that first half.
Entered by Lapa, and it is knocked away again by Miller, this time with his feet. And Syracuse keeps this one scoreless. Great move by Fernandez. Here is Omir Fernandez. Look to get it back to his teammate Chul. He couldn't, so now instead it goes to Gadula on the near side. Entering past Miller there again. Here's Lapa. No one wants to take it for Wake Forest, and eventually it finds Dunwell. He'll get it back and reset it for the Demon Deacons. Bodies hitting the floor. Wake Forest, a disorganized chance, but now a centering pass, and Dunwell couldn't finish it.
I think it's just stayed in as well on this far side. Ball didn't go out of play.
Lapa inside, and Raposo will clear it out. Wake Forest is knocking on the door and not letting up until someone answers.
Yeah, you can just feel it. He's kind of turning a little bit.
Here's Chul inside. Raposo, and now Buchanan will take it himself.
Yes, you just need to keep hold of it just for a little bit.
Get it to the other side of the field. And now Moondet has to go and retrieve it for Wake Forest. Golden opportunity after golden opportunity, and the Demon Deacons come away empty-handed.
Yeah, it's no surprise why they're 11-0, because they're able just to find that extra gear, and they've kind of picked up some momentum in this second half. I'm sure Coach Muse will be feeling it, and the halftime shot count certainly indicates that.
Norheim goes airborne, finds Hagman. Just with a switch, either team can find the back of the net. Here's Hilly Goldhar with a nice move. Over to Buchanan. And a tough pass to control. And Wake Forest takes advantage, takes back the possession.
Yeah, good skill from Goldhar there. Excellent turn. A couple of times the ball's gone into Buchanan in the last few minutes. It's not stuck. He's just got to get hold of it again so he can turn and get at those defenders.
Bobby Muse, in his time at Wake Forest, 66-8-7 since taking over the program, this being his 4th year at the helm. In the NCAA tournament alone, he's 8-3. 3 of his 8 losses overall have come in the NCAA tournament. Pretty remarkable. Ryan Raposo, another nutmeg by Syracuse, and now the Orange are in business. Great attacking ball. Here's Goldtar. Chips it over the goaltender, and Hilly Goldtar converts.
What a superb goal. Fantastic. It had everything. It had the timing, great build-up play, and the final ball was excellent. But I tell you what, Goldtar, his timing of the run was perfect. Great, this is just unbelievable skill. Nutmeg, and then a little reverse pass. And Goldar, composed, knows exactly what he's doing, and just dinks it over the goalkeeper into the back of the net for what is a superb finish and a deservingly well-taken goal, giving them a 1-0 lead against the best team in the country right now.
And the freshman is pumped up. He has his team up 1-0 on his 2nd goal of the year. Hilly Goldtar out of Toronto with a beautiful ball after a dazzling attacking pass from Ryan Raposo. And the Orange strike first.
Yeah, we saw a couple of nutmegs in the first half from Buchanan, but Raposo showing what he's capable of, and not only doing it with speed, showing the composure to pick that pass out. The weight of the pass was perfect, and like I said, the timing from Goldtar was exceptional, and the finish was exquisite, and they now have a deserving lead here against a very, very strong, competent side who can come back from this situation with no problem. We've seen it, we know what they're capable of, and they'll certainly be going at it here.
And here is that chance to respond. Lapa ahead to Chul. A lot of contact, no call, went out of play. And
Corner, I think, has been given.
I think it is the corner, yeah.
But you know, it was interesting because before SU got that goal, Wake Forest was certainly on top, and they were, you know, certainly getting the momentum going. Lots of interaction in and around that final third. We saw them coming close, a couple of efforts. Fantastic save from Hilpert.
Lapa takes the corner, puts it into the box. Up in the air, knocked away, and Wake Forest keeps possession. Lapa comes back in. Extra feet inside, and another save by Hendrik Hilpert. Right place at the right time. Logan Gadula thought he had a goal. Hendrik Hilpert says, not in my house. And now we welcome in Wake Forest head coach Bobby Muse. In just a few moments, Syracuse up 1-0, and coach, you go down 1-0 now. How does your team respond? How do you put your team in the right opportunity to respond moving forward?
Well, we'll see how they respond, right? It's only been a couple of minutes. I thought it was a good response getting in behind them there. But no, I think it's disappointing. In the second half, I think we've been on the front foot, and you know, goal comes against the run of play, but that's football. So it's and now again, oh wow, you know, we're setting ourselves up. Give Syracuse a lot of credit. Emotional, difficult to play against with the man marking all over the field, and I think it got us a little bit frustrated in the first half. But we'll try to push some numbers here and see if we can get one back here in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, Coach, I certainly agree with what you said. Second half, you seem to have that momentum, especially for a spell there where you're knocking on the door. You know, I think, to be fair, Syracuse have put a lot of pressure on you and not giving you a lot of time, like you say, the man marking. You know, what do you think you got to do better in terms of finding those opportunities in the final third?
Well, now we're a man up. Get Kobe ready, please. All right, now we're a man up, which I did not see what just happened, but obviously probably just another late foul. But no, I to be fair, I think our guys have been down in these situations before. The key right now is not to panic and continue to play Wake Forest football. I know it's difficult, but we got to try to play off the highest guy and get numbers underneath instead of relying on our individual ability and getting guys turned. But and if we can play off the switch and play off the highest guy, I think we'll get some chances here in the second half.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for your time. Go check on Logan Gadula, who just went down. Best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll take a look at what just went down. Syracuse still up 1-0. And Gadula goes down. So we look at this again. Johnson enters it in. Buchanan drags down Gadula and then throws a little bit of an elbow right. So then after the play is where the back and forth occurs. And let's see if we can get a look at that. But Tajon Buchanan just given a red card. And that is a brutal blow for Syracuse, who, with a 1-0 lead, has all the momentum just taken away from them against the #1 team in the country.
Yeah, to be honest, from what we saw there, I couldn't really identify why the red card was shown. It may have happened after the ball went, and obviously there was a little tangle where there was some back and forth, but for me, when I saw that, there was nothing significant.
So let's take another look. The throw from Triantafilou. Throws it in. Buchanan has position. Tries to get it to Raposo. And it kicks over this way. So now you can see Gadula and Buchanan. Triantafilou, again, will throw it in. Those two are jarring at one another. Buchanan throws a little bit of an elbow, a little bit of contact, and then after the play, some words are spoken. The referee said to Ian McIntyre that it was the elbow that he threw that got him the red card, which to me would be extremely shocking if that's the case. You can see here, there's definitely contact, but nothing severe. However, after the play, Logan Gadula was on the ground and looked like he was grabbing maybe his throat over his neck area.
Yeah, from this moment here, and watching it 2 or 3 times, nothing at the moment. Obviously just players getting stuck in. Maybe a shirt grab, but that's not why the red card was given, obviously. I think something must have happened after the ball has gone. If the referee has seen something, because to send him off for what we saw on the video here, I don't think that's anything that's even close to a red card, to be honest.
It's hard to tell from that angle.
Yeah, and for the boy to go down, then obviously something must have happened. But from this footage, I don't think anything warrants a red card.
Well, that's the thing, because you see him, Gadula is completely okay after this. He even gets up and talks to Buchanan. So you have to believe that after the play is over, after this ball is sent away, you can see the two of them are jawing back and forth a little bit. I'm assuming that Buchanan got, and yeah, that the call is an elbow to the throat, which was violent behavior, red card, and Gadula is still being attended to.
Violent behavior. Are you sure?
Violent behavior, yes. Ian McIntyre says, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, certainly. I'm not gonna. I can't comment on exactly what happened, because we didn't see it from what we saw on the video there. But as you said, as the ball went, it looked like they were confronting each other, and for him to go down at that point, maybe something happened. But the reality is this now is it's gone. Coach McIntyre is 1-0 up against the best team in the country. Yes, he's got 10 men, but can you organise yourselves defensively? Because Wake Forest are going to throw the kitchen sink at it now, really get at them, and they just got to be organised.
Keep in mind, Logan Gadula back in the game already for Wake Forest. Didn't take any time off, and the crowd is disgusted. John Austin Ricks now in for Syracuse, and the whistle blows. The veteran draws the call. John Austin Ricks just attacking the ball the right way, got a little bit of contact and sold it.
Yeah, and obviously the crowd getting a little bit more behind it now because of the red card. And rightly so for them. They just want to see their team do well. But, you know, not to look ahead, because obviously there's still a lot to do in this game. But it's not just the fact that you don't have Buchanan on the field to help you see this out and protect this 1-0 lead and maybe even add to it and finish the game, but it's looking after this match, and having him miss the next game is going to be pivotal.
Farron and Rula come in for their respective teams, and Hilly Goldhar gets a standing ovation from the SU Soccer Stadium crowd after breaking the tie between the #1 team in the country and the home team, Syracuse. Keep in mind, 2 years ago, back in 2016, Syracuse and Wake Forest played to a draw, and that was a game that Syracuse was a man down for about 83 or 84 minutes. So it can be done. Obviously, the Orange and Ian McIntyre want to come out on top with a 1-0 lead. Here's a chance for Aristotle Zaris to start something for Wake Forest and get back even. Zarek plays to his teammate. And Hilpert is there to swallow it up, and he'll take some time off the clock with it.
Yeah, Zaris again, looking to get in behind the SU back line. That's one thing Wake Forest have done much better in this half, is penetrating, making runs in behind defenders and finding the right type of ball. We saw them do it one time in the first half when Miller came in with a tackle, but Wake Forest really starting to make moves now and get at Syracuse.
John Austin Ricks. Now Farron. Back to Ricks. Fancy dribbling. Raposo puts it near net, and it goes just wide. A little bit high from Ryan Raposo. And I believe a whistle blew before that either way. But a spectacular job by the freshman to at least get it near net.
Yeah, the free kick was going to be given, so almost better off it doesn't go in the back of the net for Syracuse. Little nudge in the back, but Wake Forest doing some good things here now. Looking to play quickly, obviously taking advantage of the extra man.
Raposo taking his time and keeps possession as Fernandez knocks it out. So Wake Forest coming into this game, #1 team in the country, 11-0-0. Only one of 2 unbeaten teams left in Division I men's soccer. St. Mary's the other one. They've won 23 consecutive ACC games. Or not won, but they haven't been beaten in 23 consecutive games. Remember, Syracuse tied last year, and Raposo can't get to it. Just not fast enough. So a team that is obviously hot, and Logan Gadula hears it from the crowd every time he gets the ball. The reason that Syracuse's star sophomore Tajon Buchanan was given a red card just a few moments ago. And Gadula was actually drawing the crowd a little bit as well. I got a feeling that the senior enjoys the spotlight. Doesn't let this faze him. So Zaris plays it back. And Wake Forest's experienced defense, and this man, their center mid, Brad Dunwell, leads that offense. He is the Energizer Bunny, keeps it going. But there has been no going so far for the Wake Forest offense. A few chances, especially early in the second half. But otherwise, the SU defense has done its job and done it well. This is the dangerous man. Along with that one, those two, Omir Fernandez and Bruno Lapa, can get goals up in a hurry. Fernandez looking for Lapa. Instead, he found Miller, and he lets it go out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, excellent composure there from Miller. But again, good play from Fernandez. And as you said, you know, these guys certainly got bags of ability. And Lapa, just getting him in on the ball is going to be a very positive thing for Wake Forest, especially as they continue to push and try and get this equalizer.
Parente into the game for Wake Forest, as is Kyle Holcomb. Holcomb on the season with 3 goals. He had a goal last time out against UNCG. Someone who knows how to find the back of the net. Just a freshman at the forward position. Has started 6 games and now 7 after this one for Wake Forest. Kamal Miller will take this free kick for Syracuse just past midfield. Plays it. Looking for John Austin Ricks in that general direction. And Syracuse right now playing with house money with the lead down a man. If you're just joining us, Tajon Buchanan just a few minutes ago was given a red card after an elbow to the throat of number 17 in white, Logan Gadula. Raposo went flying, and so did Omir Fernandez as he went right by him. Good defense, however, from Syracuse's Jamon Johnson, and gets a nice ovation from the stands.
Yeah, good strength here again from Johnson, who recovers well. Fernandez obviously has got bags of pace, but Johnson also does. Gets his body in and just stays composed and manages to find a way out. Fernandez called for the foul.
Here's Massimo Farron. Looking back for Raposo, who keeps it from going out of play. Ryan Raposo is known as the spark plug for this Syracuse offense. That's Julio Fulcar with the ball, gets it back to Raposo. Fakes one way, misdirection goes the other. And going against Logan Gadula, who is not a fan favorite here, to say the least. So Syracuse keeps possession. Here's Triantafilou in for Farron. Raposo back to Farron. Hope put it on net, had it knocked away, and now Wake Forest has a chance to move the other way in transition. Instead, they'll back it up and reset the offense. As you see on your screen, Tajon Buchanan has been ejected from this game after a red card in the 67th minute. Now under 15 minutes to play, and great job by Kamal Miller to get back and ricochet that ball away from net. Syracuse up 1-0 on the #1 team in the country, 11-0 Wake Forest. This is a somewhat David versus Goliath, if David was somewhat of a worker out. An ACC contest, and no ACC contest is an easy one for either side. Wake Forest or Syracuse, everyone is going to be a dogfight. And that's what this has been today. Physical play on both sides. Wake Forest opened the second half with some great chances back to back to back, but Syracuse was the one who could convert theirs first. And that leaves us where we are right now with 14:05 to play in this second half. There's Miller using the body to his advantage and taking the ball away, and he'll take it up the sideline himself. Can Kamal Miller be a one-man wrecking crew? Great skill by the senior to get it all the way to the other side of the field.
Yeah, one thing that struck out was the composure of Coach Muse.
Holcomb looking for daylight. It's nighttime.
Yeah, after Coach Muse's side went one down, you could see, he said, my team can recover from this. His confidence obviously goes right through every player. But right now, Syracuse keeping them at bay, getting bodies behind the ball, blocking shots, and that's what they're going to have to continue to do, because Wake Forest will continue to push up and maybe even throw more bodies up as the game goes on and gets closer to the end.
That's a handball called on Massimo Farron, who right now is the solo attacker for Syracuse. A man down. Fernandez ahead of the pack. Kamal Miller hustling back and gets in front of him. Hendrik Hilpert loves it. And waiting for a call from the official. He needs to be careful. Syracuse already with a yellow card and a red card in this game as we look at what just happened.
Yeah, my instincts told me Miller touched it, but we'll get a closer look here. Nothing yet, nothing yet, no. Absolutely no touch.
Well, they give him the corner anyway, so wrong call by the referee. As Kobe Carr, a freshman, comes in for Wake Forest. So Lapa with another opportunity for the corner kick. Plays this one into the box. It's headed straight up, and it goes out of play. Michael DeShields got ahead on it, and instead...
Be another corner, I think.
Yes.
I was going to say it would be a sickening blow for Syracuse to give up a goal on a corner that wasn't. This one was.
This one put in a little further into the box, straight up. Second opportunity, no. Syracuse defense there, whistle blows, and it's going the Orange's direction.
Yeah, good work from Johnson there. He stayed composed, obviously inside his own box, pressure from behind. Certainly no place to panic right now. Suspicion of handball. You see the Orangeman calling for that.
It looked like it hit the hand of Parente, and I believe that's what the call was. So Syracuse trying to take advantage of another opportunity, a man down. Tajon Buchanan, as you see, out of this game after a red card in the 67th minute for violent behavior after an elbow to the throat of senior defender Logan Gudula. Gudula, number 17 in white, has gotten booed ever since. Here's Sam Rabin, one of the two captains of this Wake Forest team. Senior out of Greenwood Village, Colorado. Alistar Johnson. Wake Forest, no need to rush right now with the man-up opportunity. Fancy footwork from Zaris, popped up in the air. Hilpert was knocked away from the ball, and Syracuse catches a break. But only so much of a break. Lapa kept possession, and the Demon Deacons are still in business on the offensive end of the field.
Yeah, just keeping the ball, knocking, probing, knocking it side to side, looking for half a yard just to deliver something with quality into the box.
And that wasn't the quality they were looking for, but they keep it. Can the Demon Deacons get the equalizer? That's not going to help. Out of play as Carr couldn't track it down on the sideline. Now under 10 minutes to play, Syracuse still holding that 1-0 lead with the man down.
Yeah, bringing Del Hummel in again just to try and steady the ship in there. He's obviously got great quality. Ferrin's done well, but to get Del Hummel in there, get hold of the ball for Syracuse, try and settle things down, keep possession.
So Del Hummel comes in for Massimo Ferrin. The junior has played well, but I'm sure he's gassed after being the lone attacker for the last few minutes. Good job by Fernandez to keep that ball in play. So now under 9 minutes to play. This would be a remarkable win for Syracuse. Could be a season-changing win for Syracuse. Someone who has lost 4 games, yes, but those have all been the quality teams, and they've all been close games as well. And Ian McIntyre said, look at our RPI. We're still top 10 in the RPI because of the quality schedule we play. It's the most difficult schedule in the country. Here's Wake Forest again, but Hilpert is there like a brick wall. Doesn't let anything in front.
Yeah, decent ball into the box again from Wake Forest. I think it was Carr who was up there. Or excuse me, maybe Holcomb who got a piece of it, but just not enough power to trouble Hilpert. But you know, you talk about playing the top team in the country. What a win this would be for Syracuse to do it in the nature and with, you know, the diversity they've had to go through with losing a player. But you just feel that Wake Forest have certainly got maybe 2 or 3 even more chances in the locker, even with just under 8 minutes to go. And they'll keep knocking at the door, and make no mistake, that ball will be zipping around the Syracuse box.
Here is an opportunity. Lapa being shadowed by Syracuse's Jamon Johnson. He goes out of play. That's a throw. Throw it back towards midfield. Syracuse, this would be, as I said, a monumental win. After Wake, Ohio State on Monday, and then later that of next week, number 6 Louisville for another ACC showdown. Syracuse hasn't won an ACC game in over a year.
Yeah, another free kick given here in favor of Wake Forest. This time it's about 35 yards out as he just little obstruction, nothing major, but enough to hear the whistle and put the ball in a very tricky spot for Syracuse.
Well, Richard, we were here a few weeks ago when Notre Dame was in Central New York, and there were a couple of free kicks that they put in the perfect spot. And this is a dangerous area, about 10 or so yards outside the box.
Yeah, it's going to need something special from this range, but you know that Wake Forest have the quality.
Here's the chance from Wake Forest, and the wall of Syracuse is there. It was Aristotle Zaris on the kick, and Zaris came up with Aris.
Yeah, good positioning from the wall. You can see what he's trying to do, just go for power, maybe get some action on the ball, some swerve. But fortunately for Syracuse, it was straight into the wall and they stood firm.
Hagman, who had all 3 goals back in for Syracuse against Akron. Joel, who started the game at forward for Wake Forest. He's got 2 goals on the year, 4 assists. Here's another opportunity. Syracuse again. John Austin Ricks, put it just past him. A fantastic finish. And SU's on top by 2.
Well, I was about to say, if you wanted an opportunity to wrap it up, it can sometimes happen on the counter, especially as Wake Forest are throwing everything at it. But talk about composure, talk about pace, using your strength to stay in behind the back line. And John Austin Ricks showed he had all that quality straight from the throw-in. I mean, what a run, a flick, and then all of a sudden, a little misunderstanding from the Wake Forest defense. But you can see he has a little look over his shoulder. He knows exactly what he's doing, and what a tidy finish into the corner. And you feel now, surely Syracuse have done enough to not only upset the best team in the country at this moment in time, but to do it with a man down as well is something very special.
John Austin Ricks. A few days ago against Akron, earlier this week, it was Jonathan Hagman getting his first points of the year. And just like that, John Austin Ricks, a junior, another veteran on this team, gets his first points of the year in the most crucial of times, giving Syracuse a little bit of insurance with that man down. But this is far from over. 6 minutes left. The #1 team in the country still has that advantage. Ricks now draws the foul. He is all over the place and deserves all the praise he will get after this game.
Yeah, rightly said. Wake Forest capable of coming back from this. Certainly, if they can get a goal within the next minute or 2, that's the big thing for Syracuse. Just got to make sure they keep the door closed and not give Wake Forest any opportunity to even get any hope. But we know Wake Forest have certainly got tremendous quality.
Joel Fernandez. And cleared away. The fans at SU Soccer Stadium can smell an upset win for the Orange. It would be their first ACC win in over a year. It would be Wake Forest's first ACC loss in 24 games. The Demon Deacons coming in at 11-0. Should they fall, St. Mary's would be the only remaining undefeated team in college soccer. Here is Sam Rabin, a captain, the vocal leader of this Wake Forest team. Tripped up in the box, and that'll go to Syracuse.
Yeah, I think he just maybe drifted offside. But, you know, as you said before, SU, they've got the capabilities. We talked about it. They've got that ability. And, you know, we discussed record. You look at 11-0, you look at 4-4-1. But in terms of what we've seen on this field tonight, you wouldn't be able to pick which team is, you know, the 11-0 team based on what we've seen from Syracuse. So, You know, to be able to find that second goal, it certainly is massive for Syracuse. But credit to Wake Forest. This is why they're doing so well, is that they've not stopped, they kept going. One or two occasions they could have been a bit more fortunate in terms of the ball dropping in their favour. Hilpert's pulled out a top draw save, which if he doesn't do that, the game's totally different. But at the moment, it certainly looks like it's going to be Syracuse who are going to be on the winning end of this one.
Coach Ian McIntyre said, if you look at us, yeah, we're 4-4-1, but we have that top 10 RPI, and we are getting better each time. We are in a lot of these close games. We have the toughest schedule in the country, and we play quality games against these big boys through college soccer. He said the toughest part is reassuring his guys, look, we are good guys. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the results as much. It's the process. If you trust it, you'll get there. And this is certainly a result that would pay dividends of that process.
Yeah, and that's the key, is focusing on the performance, on the application, and when Syracuse can do that and take their chances and not give the opposition too much in terms of looks on goal, then this is certainly the capabilities of this side.
Coming in for Syracuse, number 22, Dylan McDonald, a sophomore from Pennsylvania, getting his first action today. 2.5 minutes remain from a chilly night in central New York, where Syracuse could pull off a massive upset over number 1 Wake Forest. And Kamal Miller has come up big time and time again tonight. Here's a John Austin Ricks again on the break. Draws the contact and the whistle.
Yeah, excellent play from him down this side. You can see what he's doing. He knows it's important to try and get to the corner. Just kill some time, and he gets his body in, and it's certainly some contact from behind from DeShields, who draws the foul, and it won't surprise me if they just keep this short and just keep it in the corner.
And that's exactly what they do. John Austin Ricks will keep it himself, play it towards the box, and now Syracuse will get back on defense. But the clock continues to wind down. Now 1.5 minutes to play. Time is running out for Wake Forest. And right now, this Cinderella story, so to speak, is not about to strike midnight. It might seem like an upset, but realistically, Syracuse is a good team that plays some of the best teams in the country. And on any given night, the Orange can beat anybody.
Yeah, you just look at McDonald there in the middle with that challenge. Again, we talked about application, fantastic strength in the tackle in the middle, but as you said, I mean, it's not a case of, it's not a massive upset. A lot of people may take offense by that kind of statement, but the bottom line is SU have been playing great soccer, Wake Forest have been playing great soccer. Both sides, we talked about it before the game, capable of beating each other. And at the end of the day, Syracuse have put the ball in the back of the net. Wake Forest have had a couple of really good chances. But either way, no one would have been shocked, I don't think, by the result had anyone won this game. But make no mistake, Syracuse are going to be pulling out one of the results that's going to, you know, shock a lot of people, especially when they've done it with a guy down for a long spell of the second half.
Well, no Tajon Buchanan for the last 20-plus minutes. No problem for Syracuse. A 2-0 win. And just like that, down goes number 1. Undefeated no more. Syracuse wins it 2-0. Syracuse, their first win over a top-ranked team since 2000. That was over Connecticut back in October of 2000. Now in October of 2018, the Orange have done it again and improved to 5-4-1. Just a huge win, a signature win for this season for the Syracuse Orange.
Yeah, they had a great first half where they were on top, but then credit to Wake Forest. We know what they're capable of. They came out, they were very strong, they had the upper hand, but then it was Syracuse that was able to find that goal, only to then be, faced with the setback of having a guy off the field and reduced to 10 men, but they held firm, they defended well, and were able to capitalise on that defensive error from Wake Forest, that miscommunication to get the second goal and finish this game off.
We'll take a look at how Syracuse got this result, a 2-0 win over number 1 Wake Forest, who came in 11-0. Here was the first goal. Ryan Raposo with a dazzling display and then a fantastic pass, finding Hilly Goldhar, who just put it in the perfect spot.
Yeah, he just clipped it over the keeper. Great composure from him, but as you said, great build-up play and the perfect pass. I mean, you look at him, he's driving inside. The pace of the pass, the timing of the run, the finish, it had it all. Keeper couldn't do anything. And that was 1-0. Then obviously after that was the sending off. Syracuse were on the back foot, but it was this guy here, Austin Ricks, who showed excellent composure. He took a chance, he capitalized on an error from Wake Forest, and then did a fantastic play.
And now we welcome in freshman Hilly Goldhar after that goal that broke the tie, 0-0, made it 1-0. You had open field in front of you, Hilly, and you put it in the perfect spot. What was going through your mind at that time?
I mean, to be honest, I just was on a breakaway and I didn't know what to do. I saw the keeper a little off his line, tried to put it right over him, and luckily I thought it missed, but thank God it went in, because I'm so happy to get my first ACC goal, our first ACC win in the last 2 years, and no better team to do it against for number 1 Wake Forest. So.
Yeah, I got to say, how does it feel? Obviously, the fans here tonight, great atmosphere, but to receive that pass and then, show the composure. Did you see the keeper coming off the line? Did you knew you were going to dink him? And how did it feel when it hit the back of the net?
I mean, first of all, unbelievable ball by Ryan Raposo. I mean, he saw me streaking, and when I saw the goalie off his line, I tried to get it over him, and I'm just so happy it went in. One of the best feelings I've ever had. So, can't be more happy.
Well, Hilly, fantastic finish again, and congratulations on this impressive win over number 1 team in the country.
Thank you.
Hilly Goldhar with one of the prettier goals you'll see from a freshman this year, one of the younger looking players in the country, and he wasn't the only one who got the scoring going for Syracuse, because John Austin Ricks came in later in that second half and then made a major play with a man down.
Yeah, we saw Coach McIntyre just talking to his team there, probably saying, look, this is what we're capable of. And as you see Austin Ricks here, not messing around, sniffing up on the mistake, and a great finish.
Enjoy this moment, all right? But we know from older guys that you've been working bloody hard for this. Let's make sure that we get this. So we'll see you tomorrow morning, 9:30, Mills and Wills, and we go. Come on, Hilly, come on. Choose on 3. 1, 2, 3. Where's that boy? Where's that boy?
Well, Coach Ian McIntyre told us before the game, my job is to make sure that our highs don't get too high and our lows don't get too low, but I'm sure that he and the team will enjoy this win tonight.
Yeah, you certainly got to use this in your favor to pick up some momentum. But, again, it wasn't a case that Syracuse haven't been doing well. It's just getting over the line here and there. But they've proven here what they're capable of. They've proven that they can mix it with the best. Again, Wake Forest coming into this number 1 team. And to be fair, both teams played tough. Both teams had chances, but it was Syracuse that got the goals, and to see it out with 10 men and get that second goal, the cushioner, to finish it off, a credit to them. And now Wake Forest have to try and respond positively. I'm sure they will, and Syracuse have to kick on and use this as momentum for the rest of the season to go and have a long push and a run in the tournament.